Can you solve this multiplication in just a few seconds? Most students look at all these decimal points and immediately think, this problem is difficult. But what if I told you that multiplying decimals is actually easier than it looks? In this lesson, you will learn a simple method that works every single time. And by the end of this video, decimal multiplication will feel much more logical. Welcome to our lesson on multiplying decimals. Multiplication is one of the most important decimal skills, and many students find it confusing because of the decimal points. But once you understand one simple rule, these problems become much easier. In this lesson, you will learn how to multiply decimals correctly, avoid common mistakes, and solve decimal multiplication problems with confidence. So, let's get started. Many students already know how to multiply whole numbers. But, as soon as decimal points appear, they become unsure. Where should the decimal point go? How many digits should be after the decimal? And why does the answer sometimes become smaller? Today we will answer all these questions. The first secret of decimal multiplication is, ignore the decimal points completely. First multiply the numbers as if they were whole numbers. Only after multiplying do we worry about the decimal point. This single rule makes decimal multiplication much easier. Let's multiply 0.4 by 0.3. Ignore the decimal points. Multiply 4 by 3. The answer is 12. Now the second rule comes into play. We need to decide where the decimal point belongs. The first number has one digit after the decimal point. The second number also has one digit after the decimal point. Together, we have two decimal places. So, our answer must also contain two decimal places. We move the decimal point so that the answer contains two decimal places. 12 becomes 0.12. So, 0.4 multiplied by 0.3 equals 0.12. Now, let's solve a more advanced example. Ignore the decimal points first. Multiply 124 by 35. The answer is 4,340. Now, let's place the decimal point correctly. 1.24 has two decimal places. 0.35 also has two decimal places. Together, that makes four decimal places. 4,340 becomes 0.4340. Or simply, 0.434. That is the correct answer. Notice something interesting. When we multiply two numbers smaller than 1, the answer often becomes even smaller. Many students expect multiplication to always make numbers larger. But decimals behave differently, and this is completely normal. Now, let's learn one of the fastest decimal shortcuts. When multiplying by powers of 10, the decimal point simply moves to the right. 1 place for 10. 2 places for 100. 3 places for 1000, and so on. Notice that we are not multiplying digit by digit. We are simply shifting the decimal point to the right. This shortcut appears frequently in science and real-life calculations. Here is the most common mistake many students make. They multiply 2 by 3 and immediately write 0.6. But this is incorrect. They forgot to count the decimal places. Always count the decimal places after multiplying. Now, it's practice time. Pause the video and solve these questions. Try using the decimal place rule carefully. Here are the answers. 0.6 multiplied by 0.5 is equal to 0.30. 0.8 multiplied by 0.04 is equal to 0.032. And 1.25 multiplied by 0.2 is equal to 0.25. Here is the next one. Pause and decide. Now match your answers. First equation is true. Second one is also true. But the last one is false. Because 1.5 multiplied by 10 equals 15, not 1.50. Now return to the question from the beginning of the lesson. Can you solve it using everything you learned today? Pause the video and try. Here is the solution. Ignore the decimal points. Multiply 4 by 3 by 7. That gives 84. The total number of decimal places is 6. So, the answer is 0.0000084. Let's quickly recap now. Ignore decimals first. Multiply normally. Count decimal places. Then place decimal point accordingly at the end. In the next lesson, we will learn how to divide decimals correctly. Many students find decimal division harder than multiplication, especially when decimal points appear in the divisor. But you will discover a simple method that makes these problems much easier to solve. So, make sure to watch the next lesson in this series. If this lesson helped you, subscribe to Core Concept Academy, where math and science become clear, simple, and logical. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Thanks for watching. See you in the next lesson.